It's a shift in the days. Yeah, from Sunday to Saturday. So, a little bit.
Tightly packed. So I think we should
Yeah.
respect the time.
Exactly.
Pulled up, and from the what happens, the water will be flowing through all the pipes and filters in your bathroom and everywhere. But after one day, what happens? In the water continuously flow, what happens? The volume of the tank.
Okay. So I think it's 3:30 and we should start our session. A very good afternoon to one and all who have joined us today. Today we have Ms. Ritu Jain, HOD Computer Science, KR Mangalam World School, Gurugram, Haryana. She's completed her 4 week of training as an AI educator and also done a course from IBM. And as we were wondering who would take us through the session for design thinking, Ritu ma'am was very gracious enough to come forward and say that, okay, I would share whatever I know with the AI community teachers. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this. We know that you had a very long day. You had your school and then you had to come back to make it up for this particular meeting. So we really appreciate that effort and we're looking forward for a very interesting and informative session by you. So without any further ado, the session is all yours, Ritu ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Shivi ma'am. As usual, you've always been very kind with your words and appreciation to, I think, each one of us who is member of this AI teacher community. And the best part which I like about being on this platform, we are open to sharing and we are open to correction.
Yes.
I'm also a learner, probably just 2 months old in design thinking. So it's whatever you and wherever we all can add into the discussion, please feel free to stop me in between, and wherever you want to give your inputs, I will really appreciate.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, so
before she starts her session, a kind request to all the participant teachers, keep your mics on mute. Today, for the other sessions, I have not noticed this, but for today, I've seen a lot of mics being unmuted. So that would create a little bit of disturbance to the speaker. So let's be a little more mindful that we are in a learning session and it's for 1 hour. And we would give our all attention to the speaker today. So just keep your mics on mute. Yes, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So allow me to share my screen. So is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, teacher. So we have been looking at this IBM loop, which is on your screen as of now. We know of the key terms: emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So today, this presentation will take you through more into detail, like how this evolved, how the entire concept involved, and how somewhere probably we are doing design thinking at all levels from the past few years, but formally it has been introduced in the industry and coming down to schools, because we have to prepare the students who will do different kind of jobs when they land into the industry. So this is very well accepted concept as of now when we talk about the corporate world where our students will probably go and work. So moving to the next slide. So just to introduce you to the topic and how design thinking involves changing the mindset. So you all can see a picture on your screen. So what are the problems do you see? What is happening in the scene?
There's no balance. It's not equally distributed. The taller person can see the match better. And
Yeah.
it's the same parameters, I think. That has
Yeah. Anyone else? Like,
Now it seems like inequality.
yeah. Thank you, sir. So it's like, there is somewhere a gap, like the youngest one probably is not able to see the match, but he's still standing there waiting for some solution. So what solution do you suggest? If I ask any of you, if you're given this problem to solve, what will be your input?
we raise the bar, 2 more bars added to the little one.
Yeah, younger one can get one more box to stand, or the elder one can lift him up to see.
Yeah, that's also another possible solution. So
Understand the problem of pupils, ma'am.
if we have to implement this, as you said, ma'am, we can have 2 boxes for the younger one so that he is able to view the match and enjoy the match as much as the others, are enjoying. But when we talk about design thinking, we talk in the user-centric approach. So when it is user-centric approach, we have to think about all possibilities. What are the problems and what are the users, who are our stakeholders, who are the people who are going to, benefit from the solutions. So when we move to a user-centric approach, this is probably the solution proposed. So instead of having any boxes or bars to view the match, let's have it as a transparent net. So you don't need really, don't need to lift yourself or rise to a higher level and view the match. Now it's open for everyone to view. So this is the crux of design thinking. So when you move to design thinking, so basically the idea is keep your users always on priority. It is a very creative process in which we consider the users and we develop the solution, keeping them in mind. So every step of design thinking, we know the 5 steps. Every step we try and put ourselves into more challenges, and we try to explore that, okay, what is it? What is it that we can do better? Are we able to hit the problem? These are the questions, and these are the kind of challenges which we must achieve when we are in the solution. Yeah. So who founded this theory? Basically, it's like IBM fellow Charlie Hill. He, along with Phil Gilbert, founded the theory of design thinking. And he said, I tell engineers that if the problem they're trying to solve includes people, they probably need design. So design thinking virtually exists in everything we look for. Suppose today I have to buy a food processor for my house. I go and check with different brands. And what are the things that I look for when I check the different brands and try to benchmark? If I have to buy a food processor today, what are the things we look for, teachers? Probably the number of jars. What are the features, other features? Is it okay if I have to make a rice, grind rice? Is it okay? Will I be able to do that comfortably? And
How long the product will sustain, like guarantee?
Guarantee, yes. Ease of cleaning, how easy it is to clean. So there are different aspects, not just about using the food processor, but how to maintain it, how to clean the food processor, how to store it, how much storage does it take? Is it handy? Can I move it? Does it have its own battery? Do I always need electricity to run it? So these are different features and things which look for when we are buying a food processor. Similarly, if I compare this concept again to design thinking, relating it to it, it's like whoever built a food processor had these things in mind, and they were actually exploring the user. So from the user perspective, what are the things, what are the questions I must answer for a user? So those are the things which are already existing, and we are now formally using it as a design thinking. Now, last session, though I missed Venkat sir, but I was fortunate to see your recording and the PowerPoint. So design thinking is related to the problem scoping, which is one of the steps of AI, which you had covered much in detail in the last session. So design thinking, the 4 W's, who, what, where, and why. The 4 W's are like who is facing the problem, who are the stakeholders. When I say what means, what is the problem? What exactly I need to address, and what are the possibilities a user may have. Now, when I say where, It is related to the context or situation or location of the problem. So where exactly it is and how we want to deal with it. And when I say why, it's like why we need to solve the problem and what are the benefits my stakeholders are getting if I solve this problem. So we'll take few examples during the course, but before I begin with examples, I would like to give you a little more detail about design thinking, which probably is not in the course of 11th and 12th, but as a teacher, you must know. So these are the basic background which you must have as a knowledge, because when you're telling to the students, you have to give a little extra as well. So design thinking is an iterative process. As I told you, at every step, you have to revisit the problem and challenge your assumptions, and also explore if there are any better strategies available. Am I on the right track? So you redefine the problem, you ideate, you redefine, and it's a continuous problem solving which happens. If I have to give a formal definition of the design thinking, it is a valuable approach that makes the implementation process straightforward and gives a clear picture of project's progress, completion, efficiency, and accuracy. Now, why we need to do design thinking? It's like you have to work for the user. You have to love the problem and not the solution. So why I'm saying this, so don't jump into the solution. When you have to look at the problem, you have to explore the problem much in detail, because this is the equation which the design thinkers look for. So plus process into iteration. That means every time you are on a stage, you have to challenge, iterate, and look for the best outcome possible. Now, what exactly are the principles of design thinking? The first principle is the empathy, where I'm trying to gain the insight of the requirement of the stakeholders. So this is the very much important step where you're trying to understand the need of the user. So whoever is your end user, you need to understand, put yourself in his shoes and understand the requirements. Second step would be reframing the perceived problem or challenge. So once you know the problem, you try to define it in your own words. So you have to define, and probably this definition also you have to evolve till you reach the end of the process. So when you reframe the problem, you are almost, you know that what you are intending to achieve after the entire process. Now, very important concept of design thinking says when you are brainstorming the solution, you should have people from different background, different thinking styles. So that is a collaborative approach which is used, and you must have a divergent styles of thinking to explore as many possibilities to promote the open ideation space. So divergent style of thinking means, like, if you're trying to solve a problem, your end user could be the multiple users. So try to involve the users in the process of evolving the solution. And when you are working on the solution, you should have somebody from the testing team. You should have somebody from the design team and the requirements team, and probably the business users. So those people help you work into exploring more possibilities. Once you have some solutions listed, after diverging, the second step is converging. So converging means basically out of the solution which are proposed, you try and organize and get to the best solution possible. So once you have that best solution in your hand, then you begin with the prototyping. Now, this prototyping phase also is not the end of it. Prototyping and testing is iterated multiple times so that we achieve what we want is a desirable, feasible, and viable solution. So whenever you are teaching your children and you want to tell them that, okay, you have to build a solution to it. So from the industry perspective, solution is nothing but the product. So whatever product or whatever solution you're wanting to propose, that has to be desirable, feasible, and viable. Now, these are some extra 2 slides which I've added for you to understand the design thinking frameworks which exist and which have been used by different people, different organizations. So these all evolved at the schools, the Ivy League schools, And the first one is the blend of heart, head, and hand. So what we notice in all these processes, they are termed differently. The stages also may be named as a different word, but ultimately they are all mapping to what we have as a D School's 5-stage process. So let's see what goes in heart, hand, head, and hand. So in heart, it's basically the process is based on vision and empathy. If it is head, it is ideation involving the cognitive skills. So that's the second stage. And finally, hand, which is a practical creation by hand. So that goes into the prototype. Next is the deep dive process. So deep dive has 5 stages, and this was acquired by Deloitte in 2006, very much into practice. Understand, observe, visualize, evaluate, and implement. What we are teaching in our schools and what we have to follow in AI curriculum is the D School's 5-stage process, which is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Then there are other solutions, which is enhanced by Hasso-Plattner Institute of Design, which is understand, improve, and imply. So what we observe is most of them have these common ideology and they work on the same, but the terms are different here. So we may come across a different design theme framework later on, but the crux is the same for all of them. Now, IDEO's design thinking process is inspire, ideate, and implement. So again, it's like the problem that motivates the search for solutions. So you brainstorm searching the solution with different set of people, and then ideating, generating ideas, and implement means implementing it and taking it to the market to make it a business model. So this one is adopted in the AI curriculum. Then we have 3 more books listed here: Human-Centered Design, Design Council of the UK, and the Frog Design. Human-centered design is hear, create, and deliver. So these are the terms like we've read about Bloom's taxonomy. If you can relate to that, there are words which are related. So related words are identified and used in different designs. So in here, it is empathy plus define. Create is again ideate plus prototype, and deliver is the logistic implementation. Design Council of the UK has 4 Ds: discover, define, develop, and deliver. Frog Design is again 3 Ds: discover, design, and deliver. So this also has been replaced by explore, converge, and support. So the terms are related. Now the elements of design thinking, which are visible on the screen, you would see this in most of the courses which you, if you plan to take from IBM. So I am providing the link here. If you have already done, that's great. But there are multiple courses which you may opt for. So these are the principles which are well taught in the courses. The first one is the focus on user outcomes. Second is the restless reinvention, which is the loop shown here. And third is the diverse empowered team. So the first one, the user outcomes, means who are you designing for and what do they need? So we have to measure the success by how well we fulfill the human needs. The second one, which is the loop, it is when is the last time you rethought that you are making. So you have to make, observe, and reflect. So this is the cycle which is a continuous cycle until we achieve the solution. The third is about the diversity in the skill set, who is actually working on the team. So working on the design thinking. So you must have a right mix of makers so that you can bring the unique points of view to the table. So this is the loop, which is called IBM loop. It was developed by Thomas J. Watson, and it's a continuous process of observing, reflecting, and making. So observing means immerse yourself in the real world. So you're, when you are ideating, your students you have to motivate them to reach all the possible tangents in the solution. You actually explore and try to challenge yourself at every stage so that you build, you go in the right track and give the best possible solution. Second is reflecting. So come together and look within is the key term here. And third is making it. So give concrete form to the abstract ideas. So the ideas have to be usable by everyone. Ideas have to be implementable, because it may be usable, it may be implementable, but how much can be implemented? Okay, so those are the things which goes in the MVP of the product, which I will just discuss soon after this. So whenever our children are building the solution, we have to, make them understand that the solution has to be developed in such a way that it is feasible, viable, and you should be, it has to be feasible and viable to the market. Yeah. So these are the keys, important keys in design thinking: the hills, playbacks, and sponsor users. Hills are the statements of intent that describe the main objectives of a release in a user-focused way. So we have to align the teams on the meaningful user outcomes so that the people in the team are aligned to the same frequency. Second is the playback. It's basically how you are able to criticize your own solution. Team need a safe place to present their work, tell stories, and exchange feedback in the project's ever-evolving situation. And third is sponsor users. So you must have people from, those who are going to be your potential users. Bring them in, tell them to validate the solution, and they can help you in the further research and bring more insights on your solution. So just this is the site which you have to look for. It has amazing courses on design thinking and a lot of badges which you can earn, and even your students can earn. So please be open to share these badges and these courses with your students. Now moving to the solutions, like how I want to build a solution. What are the class activities which are possible? What are the ways we tell them to ideate, tell our students to ideate? So whenever we are working on a solution, when we tell them, okay, these days, a lot of schools have ATL lab, a lot of schools say, okay, bring children should, give some good solution to the existing problems. So what are the problems? So give some themes to your students, give them these themes like teens, human rights, water, privacy, violence, equity, and tell them to look for the existing problems in their surroundings and what are the problems they face. If all these themes can be given to them, then it is easy for a student to localize their own theme and try to build the solution. Now, once they understand, okay, that they have to build a solution on, for example, food waste, whatever solution they're trying to build, they have to look for the potential users and understand their needs, their statements needs to be taken, and further they brainstorm. Now let us take a simple example. We all have admission desk in our school. So how can an admission desk provide better service? So when we look at the school reception, we can identify, okay, there are problems at the school reception. There could be, probably some problem like there is long waiting hours. There are a lot of queries at a particular time slot. So those are the problems which admission desk faces. So what are the possible solutions? Do we have admission counselors? Can we afford to have, multiple admission counselors? Or can we replace it through, maybe an admission chatbot, which can look for, the first interaction can happen with the admission chatbot. So a chatbot will be able to handle certain queries of the admission desk. And once filtered from there, the admission desk can approach the people who are working in. So these kind of solutions are, something which a child can think of, and they can observe and talk to the people, talk to all the stakeholders, maybe talk to the parents who are waiting at the reception, talk to the existing parents, talk to the admission desk, what are the problems they face. So that's how the process evolves. Now, when I said MVP of the product, basically, these are the three key areas: desirability, viability, and feasibility. So whenever a child is building a product, he has to understand. So as teacher, we have to make these key terms very clear to the students that, okay, desirable means your product should be desirable by the user. It should be helpful for the user. Second is feasibility. If you have to hit the window of the market, whether it is a feasible implementation. So your You may have a good solution, but if you're not able to implement it, it's not good enough. And third is the viability, that it should have a long-term business prospect. Your solution should be you should be able to sell it to the market if required. So in every solution, look for the sweet spot, which is called the innovation sweet spot, which is a combination of the right amount of desirability, viability, and feasibility. Let's make the minimum viable product. And it's in design thinking, MVP is again, it plays a very important role there. Teachers, any questions so far?
No, I think it's going on well, Ritu ma'am.
Okay, because now we are moving to, more of discussion where we have to look at the problem and see how we evolve. So till now, it was more on theory of design thinking, that how design thinking evolved, what are the elements of design thinking, and what exactly we must look for, and what are our head starts when I have to look for a project. I have to look at the MVP of the product. So let's move on to a problem, which is I have to build an app, which is a medication reminder for the senior citizens. Okay, so medication reminder means maybe senior citizens tend to forget the time of the medicine, and you need to have certain inbuilt app which they can use for this. So the first step is to build the,
Ma'am,
yeah,
can we put it in the presentation mode so that it's more-
yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes. So when you have to build such an app, you have to look for the people, and how many, you have to also see that whether this product is desirable. So when I say whether the product is desirable, that means how many people really require such an app. So and when you have to build the empathy, you have to get into their shoes and understand that what are the problems they face. So what are the reasons for forgetting to take the medicine? Does it happen frequently? So you have to understand from the users, does it happen frequently? Who reminds them when they forget? So maybe you can visit their families, if you know senior citizens, you can visit their families, understand them, how often it happens, what are the problems they face if something like this happens, who reminds them when they forget, what are the present solutions they're looking for, if just to keep as a reminder. Probably they're setting up alarms, or maybe telling their children to remind them. Do they live alone or live with others? So this is another very important fact, like, the senior citizens, if you consider in the state of pandemic, maybe they are alone and they're continuously staying alone. So they do not have any extra help. So these are the things which involve the talking to the users. So even if the child is building the product now, he may interact telephonically or visit the place to understand the problem. So are they socially and financially independent? So, what kind of problems they face if, we talk about the senior citizens. And also, are there any products or solutions in the market? Now, this is something which is very important, because you cannot build the same solution. If there is already any solution, then you must explore and give something extra in your solution. So you have to add that factor in your solution. Second step is getting answers to all the questions you had on the previous slide. So now to get those answers, you have to search for information. You may find information on the net and other resources. Yeah, Shibi ma'am.
Yes, Ritu ma'am.
Yeah, your hand is raised. So I thought
I had raised, so sorry, I had raised it for that to share the presentation mode. I'm so sorry.
okay.
Got to
Yeah,
look.
no issues, ma'am. Yeah, so you have to search for information. Maybe the information is available. If it is not, information is not available, then you have to interact with the users. If it is not possible in a physical mode, then maybe you can have surveys. You can circulate the surveys. You can online interact with them or telephonically interact with them. When we have to talk to the stakeholders, you have to have checklist with you with all the problems which you have realized on the empathy stage. So all the problems should be listed as checklist, and try to write answers and try to understand from the stakeholders and different experts. So when you have to talk to the stakeholders, not just the family members and the senior citizens, you can also talk to the doctors, because they also experience it due to, maybe if they forget the medicines, there are complications in their case in the medical history, and it's like sometimes emergency is available, sometimes it is not. So it can be a disaster for them. So you can also talk to the doctors and look at the products and solutions already available. Search for patents also, because for every solution these days, if I look at Play Store, there are so many apps which are available, free as well as paid. So you generally tend to have solution for every kind of problem in the mobile, so when you search on the internet, you will find problems, solutions, everything there. So when you are trying to build your product, you have to add that aha factor in your product. So that is why it is important to look at all the products and solutions which are already available. Now, third step is to do the research on your solution. So when you are done with your empathize phase, you've done the ideation, okay, these are the possible solutions. You have also discussed with among the experts, and you decide on a particular solution. Then it's the time when you have to again ask yourself about the desirability of the product, about the viability. So will the users accept my solution? Is there a market for my solution? Is it easy to use? So these questions are nothing but some kind of checklist for you. So does it overcome the problems of existing solutions? Because you've already seen the existing solutions. So that is also an important aspect here. Can it be used without much physical and cognitive effort? So here also, like if I look at the users, if it is a senior citizen, maybe is not tech savvy. So is it, if it is an AI solution, am I having a speech over text kind of a solution to them? Can it be used by all groups of people? Now, multilingual product and a bilingual product, or maybe a single language product, is also another aspect here. So when you try to build your product, these are the things you need to keep in mind. So that's the third level, which is very important to make the product robust in the sense that it is usable. So summarizing the process cycle, what we have as empathize, ideate, and define is all included in the process of validation, brainstorming, interacting with the users, and taking the expert opinion. So it is actually a discovery stage. It is not the diagnosis or the design stage. So the entire process of testing also is, is a continuous stage. So testing doesn't mean you've reached the end of the solution. Testing means you are testing, and for each time you test, you have an opportunity to improve on your design. So that's why it is called an iterative process. So these are the terms which probably everyone has seen enough on the portals now. Empathize means develop a deep understanding of the challenge. Defining means clearly articulate the problem you want to solve, and this definition also keeps changing. Once after empathize, you define the problem. After ideating, you may redefine your problem and give it the best possible problem statement. So if you look at the AI project guide, it asks you to fill up the gaps to define your problem statement in just 2 lines. So you can't be describing your problem, you have to define your problem. Third is about ideating. So brainstorm the potential solutions. So what we do is we parallelly ideate on the potential solutions. You don't have to zero down and maybe be restrictive. So be open mind and maybe have parallel work, in the sense that you have to see how best is the solution. Maybe the solution which you have chosen is not good enough. So you may go back and, explore on different solutions, but the best thing is it gives you the space for doing it. So ideating, prototyping, and testing is a process which is more into innovation, so that you can continuously improve your design and build the best solution for your user. Now, the tools which are used in AI project guide for achieving, these are very important tools, and in class 11th and 12th, we need to teach our students about these tools which are listed here. The first one is the empathy map. So this is all about the users, like what the user says, what the user thinks. So what the user says is something which he is very sure and very clear about. If you talk to them, they will say, okay, yes, I want a solution which can help me in remembering my medicines. But what the user thinks means something which is going in his mind, but he is not saying it loud. So whenever you are talking to the users, you have to understand and list all the things which you think is going on in the mind of a user. What the user does is the physical action that user takes in using the product. So that is clearly identified when you talk and when you build the solution. Now, what user feels is another, actual user emotions, what they experience, what they feel. Maybe, this is something which you must, try to identify from the user so that you are able to build the empathy map. The second important tool is the priority grid. So priority grid is something which is written about the solution, but at the same time, you have to consider the ease of development as well as the value to the users. So when we say ease of development, here comes the feasibility. So you may have a best possible solution, but if it is hard to create, then you may not go for that solution. So when you brainstorm in AI project guide, if you've seen teachers, it's like you have to brainstorm, and for each idea your team is evolving to, each idea needs to be placed in the priority grid. So you may have an idea which is having high value to the users and it is easy to create. It may be high value to the users but hard to create. It may be low value to users and hard to create, and low value to users and easy to create. So this grid is used to quickly identify that what is the implementation I must choose. So if it is easy to create and has high value to users, will be picked up if you place the solutions in the priority grid. So there are online tools which I will show you, which can be easily used to build the priority grid, and they are very attractive tools and children enjoy using it. So we are yet to see the badges of AI. So we will be starting it next year. So, these are the tools which will really help and make your students excited about using them. So this is another, just an example. So as per the value and the effort, you can place the solutions and decide that what you can do now and what is probably not required. So you may not opt for that. Now the testing phase, you have to share your solution and get the feedback. So when you have to share your solution, not just yourself, but all stakeholders should be involved. Create an experience, let your user touch, hold your prototype. Note the meaningful reactions, because somebody who is a user will use it from a different perspective. So you have to observe, and for this also in the AI guide, there is a grid which is used. So I'll just show that on the next slide. So prototype is not precious, but the responses are very precious. So when you are using, when you are putting your solution to the testing phase, it is very important to observe at every step that what is the reaction of the user and what are the problems he is facing, because every problem is going to be an opportunity to improve on your design. So don't sell or defend, but have conversation and observe. That's very important. So this is the kind of user feedback grid which is used during the testing phase. And these are the 3 grids: priority grid, empathy map, and the user feedback grid, which is listed in the AI project guide. So features that are working in the prototype are listed. You have to identify the modifications, because there may be possibilities of change when you're discussing with the user, when you look at them using your solution. Challenge your solution and think of limitations. So if there are any limitations, you may list them, because you may want to pick them in the next implementation. So overcome the challenges, ideate, and all the suggestions are also listed here, so that when you iterate on the cycle, this is your input for the next cycle. Now, this is a sample empathy map for a user. So what we instruct our children is that when you are looking at the solution, you have to list all the observations in the 4 grids, what the user says, does, thinks, and feels. So suppose there's a product and the user says, okay, yes, I want to try the product. At the same time, he does purchase the product. He's exploring the market. He's doing research. He's, listing all the problems he has. And he's also thinking that this may be very expensive. He's probably thinking that this is a great purchase if I'm doing it, but whether I should be taking it up, am I wasting money? So this should not be a waste of money. So, these are the things which goes on in their mind. So for a user to understand, okay, whether he has to take up a solution, he has to get the value of his money when he's buying your product. So the sample empathy map has to comprise of not just about the features, but about the feelings which the user may have.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, this is Venkat here.
Yeah.
Ma'am, could you explain the terms empathy and user-centric with examples?
Yeah. So, sir, user-centric is about, when you are building your building the solution. So, like, if I look at the first slide, which I showed you as a match which is happening, and a child is there who is not able to view the match. So,
Yes,
some children, some teachers joined late. So, let me go back to the slide. Yeah. So, if I just look at the problem and the problem solving approach and the user-centric approach. So if I have to relate to a user-centric approach has to have the empathy built in. Why? Because you have to think about all people, all possible users, and you have to build your solution in that manner that it is able to hit their needs. So if I look at this problem where maybe the view is hindered and the child is not able to view the match, so this was something which was proposed by a problem solving approach. But if I do not consider the problem solving approach, then what I need to do is I need to look at the empathy map for the existing problem. So if I have to build the existing map of the problem, then probably I'll talk to each of the people here, like the elder children and the younger children, and I will try to understand what exactly he's facing, what exactly is the problem he's facing, and then we evolve on the design. So empathy is going into to their level of thoughts and understand the problem so that their needs are catered.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So now coming back here. Yeah, so these are the tools which are used. So let me just take you to this tool. So Miro is a tool which is used in the industry, and it's a beautiful tool. In fact, even we can use it. Yeah, so if I click on the empathy map, which is there, so it provides you a lot of templates, and you can tell your students, show it to them, and they can use these templates. These are editable sticky notes which are available, and we can add on your board. It provides you a lot of templates here. So if you have to build the empathy map, sorry, let me show you the priority grid. So these are ready to use tools which can be used, and you can add stickies to it, and you can use it in your project and embed it in your AI guide rather than having to make in the box. So you can use these grids. So especially those who are doing AI in this year and are going to have students appearing for 12th this year can probably use this. Now, another example, which I thought I'll just give you as a food for thought, is if you have to build a smart surface parking app. So now again, every time when we go to a market and we are trying to, look for parking, it's a tough time, especially, when you're visiting a busy market. So what kind of AI powered solution you can suggest? So when you have to suggest a product like this, again, the whole process starts from empathy. So you have to talk to all the type of people who are visiting there in the market. You have young adults who often go out. You have adults working in those areas, but the parking is difficult to find. You have price conscious users who wish to find cheaper or free parking. And there are people who may require accessibility accommodations. So when you build the empathy map, you may not build empathy map just for one person, but you build the empathy map for all the stakeholders. Try to understand the need of all stakeholders so that when you are ideating on the solution, you are keeping in mind the usability of your solution, because the project, the solution has to be desirable. So if it will be desirable, if you have more people, if you consider more people in your empathy map. So don't limit yourself to a certain set of people, but the idea is to explore more people who are the potential users of your app. So you can give your students this thoughts. Smita here is excitable, outgoing student who loves clubbing and going out with her friends. So emulate her thoughts using an empathy map. Maybe she wants to have an app where she can book the parking. Maybe she wants to have an app where she's able to see a free parking, before leaving the house, and she can, just go there and book it and park the car easily. So when when your students are ideating, just provide them that kind of help there. So this is the initial example of admission inquiry. So if I have to build a bot for admission inquiry, the potential users are probably the admission desk. The potential users are maybe the parents who are visiting. So what are the problems? What are the problems that the user face? What are the users thinking? So maybe they want to minimize the time and effort, maybe a lot of manual handling. So if it is an admission inquiry bot right on the website, they may not visit the school for the first level of inquiry. So build that kind of the map in your brainstorming. So the users are excited to have an automated service to improve the system efficiency. That is something which comes out of the discussion. Now, what are the users doing? Currently, the system is inefficient and users spend more time in dealing with queries that can be handled using some automated service. So this kind of a map is built, and then you can ideate and define your problem and build the solution. So teachers, this was from my side. So basically the role of a teacher here is changing now from sage on the stage, it's from to guide on the side. So what a teacher must do is break the norm, do not give the solution, but motivate the children to find the solution. Identify the opportunity to bring the change and bring design thinking into the classroom. And it applies to all subjects. CBSE has already released AI integrated curriculum and also a lot of lesson plans with different subjects. So we have to change the mindset of the way we work to build the 21st century skills to our students, which are creative thinking, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. So this is a process which is evolved, and you may read more about it on the internet and do take up the courses. Most of the material in my PPT is also from those courses and of course from the internet. But I hope I was able to make you understand what exactly is the process and how you need to evolve into it.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, teachers, for being patient listeners. And I'm open to any questions which you may have.
Yeah. There's one query that I wanted to ask you, Ritu ma'am. These courses that you talk about in this IBM related to design thinking,
Yes,
how long does it take for us to come?
and they are all self-paced courses. So you may have them listed for 5 hours or something, but 5 hours or 10 hours. and there are certain assignments and quizzes which you follow. So it doesn't take much time really, and the course content is not much, but it's more about the videos which are there in the course. So you can see the videos and attempt the quiz and the questions which are there. But the courses are really helpful to understand because there are nice examples in those videos which are live examples. So like one of the courses has example of an airline system which is handling last minute queries of maybe any change which are there and changing the destination. So it's like how they deal with it and how design thinking helps over there. So that is a very good example which was there in one of the courses.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, is it like courses in Coursera? Similar courses?
Yes, ma'am. Very much. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Similar kind of courses, and they're all self-paced. So maybe every weekend, if we plan accordingly, we can probably take up those courses and achieve skills.
In Coursera and all machine learning, lots of courses are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Good
Very useful
videos.
courses are there. Yeah.
Any
Even
questions?
educator
Any
also is-
questions from anyone or any feedback that you would like to give, Ritu ma'am?
Ma'am, shall I, ma'am?
Please, sir.
Yes, Venkat sir.
Ma'am,
Ritu ma'am, one second, Venkat sir. Ritu sir, Ritu ma'am, can you just stop the screen share? And can
Yeah.
you give me, before you stop the screen share, can you put the first screen once again, the design thinking infinity symbol? I just want to take a snap screenshot. Can you put that in the presentation mode, ma'am?
Yeah.
Just give me a minute, Venkat sir. I'll just
Yes,
take
sure.
a screenshot and then you can ask her the questions.
Ma'am, no questions, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ritu ma'am. You can stop the screen share.
Yeah, Ritu ma'am, thank you so much for giving this wonderful topic, ma'am. Before attending this session, seriously, I don't have any idea about what is design thinking, how it goes, how it can be used for the students or teachers, anything else. So after attending this session, it's very much helpful, and I had a basic understanding about what is design thinking and how can I go and how can approach with relate to the AI. So it's a great pleasure, ma'am, to attend your session. Thanks once again for giving a beautiful presentation, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It really means a lot to me.
Anyone else, please? Anybody else who would like to give your feedback or any comments that you want? You know, it's very important that as teachers, we come forward to give our feedbacks or comments about one of our peers. You know, I would like to say a few things. Now, till that time, you can take your time to come forward. I would take this opportunity. I was just writing it down. Design thinking was something that was there in my mind, and because it's a part of grade 11, we really wanted to know. I had absolutely no idea about what design thinking is. A couple of times I had taken down a few sites to refer to what design thinking is, but I could never make myself to learn it. So today I got a clear idea about the process and the cycle and what design thinking is. You did a thorough work and a research in order to make this presentation, because when I sit down to make one presentation, maybe it's 10, 20 or 30 slides. It takes so long to make a presentation. There were a lot of clarity, you know. You had explained each concepts very clearly and very simple. You also were very generous in sharing those links with us. I have often seen this, that there are teachers I know personally who know a lot more than we know. But then, you know, somehow there is this a bit of a hesitation in sharing everything. You know, they would share a few here and there, but they would not leave out entire content or resources or links like that. So, but you were quite generous in, I would like to mention this to everybody who is present here, that Ritu ma'am is not somebody who is an expert in design thinking. She's also learning AI and design thinking, and she's in the process of, she's actually started her journey with AI. But to take a risk and to take that initiative of saying that, okay, I will share whatever I know with the teaching community is a huge thing. Okay, she could have just ignored all those messages and okay, let somebody else do it. I am just doing it. I don't have AI in my school at present, and I've just started learning AI. So I think I'll take it up some other time. She could have thought like that, but fortunately for us, she did not. So thank you so much for your
Ma'am.
generosity, your kindness, and for taking that huge effort of letting us know that, okay, design thinking is not a big problem in front of us, but something which we can tame, which we can understand, and which is quite interesting. That's what I believe, because I saw those slides and I found it's very interesting. It's very close to our real lives. So children would also be quite inspired to take up projects like this. My husband often says that, he is somebody who believes in this amazing way how the universe works. And he's damn sure that wherever he go, however busy it would be, he would get a parking lot. Okay. Somehow, maybe the person would be just taking out the car and he'll put it in. So he has this amazing belief that he will always get a parking lot. So when you gave me that example, I said that is for people like me who can, use that app and find out, because I really struggle to park when I go out. And that's one major concern. So how children can think about these small real life problems and come out with their own solutions and use this design thinking to develop something which is amazing in our real lives. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this session. I am deeply honored and grateful to you because I understand when the school starts, it's very hectic for all of us. And you to come back from school and then
No
take
problem,
another
ma'am.
1 hour, for us, that's
No,
something
no
really
problem.
commendable. So thank you so much, Ritu ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. The pleasure is all mine. And believe me, I have been into so many groups for years, but this is the most active group and more open. So everybody is here to collaborate, and it's really great to interact with the, all you all here on this platform. And I've been attending very regularly. Last weekend I was in Delhi, so there were network issues. So I missed Venkat sir's session. I was really, wanting to attend the AI project cycle. And it's a beautiful world of programming, and our children are going to work in this technology. So if we could be helpful, CBSE has introduced AI right from class 6, data science right from class 6. So, it's now required from our side that, we understand it well so that we are able to impart it to our students.
Yeah.
Thank each one of you for being here today, for supporting in my session.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Very
teachers.
obliged.
Yeah.
Ritu ma'am, Chaivi ma'am, shall I say one word? Ritu
Yes,
ma'am,
yes.
it was a wonderful session. You have given us an insight of design thinking. I like that empathy map, all those things. Now we will explore on it.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, ma'am.
In fact, Shibi ma'am, there is a suggestion, like probably sometime we can, have breakout rooms and work on the empathy maps and try to build our own solutions in the. So that is something which we can plan once we all, have enough confidence on building the solution.
Yes, yes. Once we have all gone through this design thinking concept on our own, like being a self-learner, either through a self-paced course or through some other medium, let's all come back together for another session on design thinking, where we would be actually working on developing solutions.
Because unless we do hands-on, we will not.
Yeah, that is when we would realize where we are all getting stuck, okay, how to go about it. And when we do it in a group, then, people can support us. When we get stuck at some place, the other partner would help us out and say, okay, this is the way we can go, and that way we can navigate. So that's a wonderful suggestion, Ritu ma'am. Definitely we would be thinking on those lines. And Ilyama ma'am, thank you so much for making today's feedback form and the certificate. The feedback form is shared into the chat box. Do kindly fill it up. And Ilyama ma'am, and there was one more teacher, Ilyama ma'am. Sindhu ma'am. Yeah, I would like to put my gratitude for both of you. And also that we have the first session of July 4th on Sunday by Divya, which would be based on grade 12 projects, AI projects based on grade 12 topic, which is again going to be a very comprehensive, a very good session. See, what I appreciate about the teachers who have not yet started AI in their schools and still are coming in to learn all about AI is that you have time to prepare yourself. you've not yet started your classes, so you have that time frame where you can attend these sessions and get ready. And so when you start grade 11, you would be so well equipped that AI is not going to haunt you anymore, or you will be very confident about what you're going to teach your children. And for those of us who have already started on this journey, it's equally important for us to make sure that we attend these small sessions where we learn. It's not possible for us to go back. Like for me, I am someone who cannot go back and visit a recording. I am somebody who can only see the live session. So I have tons of webinar recordings which I have never even opened. So make it in a point that Sunday 1 hour time we dedicate for our self-learning process, like how we tell our children, please dedicate. I'm not saying that you join AI community of teachers, but whichever forum or platform that you are in where you are getting something to learn, take that 1 hour out of Sunday for you to learn anything, maybe AI, maybe some other concepts that you would like to learn. I see a lot of teachers are involved in so many other brilliant activities in different forums, and it is a it's a proud privilege for me to know all these teachers in this community of teachers. So thank you very much for coming together. I'm leaving you guys exactly for time for tea time. So go back, have a enriching cup of tea or coffee or anything that you love. And we will see you all next week.
Ma'am,
Yes.
can we have a group picture?
Yeah, please. Can everybody enable your cameras, please? Anyone who can enable it, please make sure that even if you are in some room, just get up and enable your camera so that we can take a good shot. Raksha ma'am has not joined us today. Yes. So I think I will take the privilege of taking the picture today. So everybody, yes, no, I can only see, fine. Is that all? Is that all that we have? Is there anybody else who would like to join in for a picture? You're creating memories.
Okay. Teachers, have a great Sunday tomorrow, and let us meet virtually.
Yes, I'm just get ready. I'm going to take a picture. 1 second. Smile, everyone. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Remain healthy and safe. Go grab a cup of tea. And you have Sunday is free for you because we had the Saturday session. So Sunday is free for you to relax and enjoy and have a good time with your family. We'll see you all next Sunday, which is July 4th, with Divya's sessions on AI project site.
Thank you so much. Thank
you, Ritu ma'am. Thank you, Shibi ma'am.
Thank you.
It was a
Thank you,
wonderful
Ritu
session.
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
So much.